This is a Channel 4 News Special. The national champion Miami Hurricanes parade through the city. Hail to the Hurricanes.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tony Segreto, along with Susan Lichtman. For the third time in the 80s, we are here to honor the national championship University of Miami Hurricanes. And as offensive tackle Mike Sullivan told Steve Abrams just a few moments ago, this championship also belongs to the people of South Florida. And once again, the Magic City has embraced the Magic team of the 80s.
That's right. It's also going to be embracing 21,000 pounds of confetti, which actually you can see behind us have already started flying across the street. We're expecting about 25,000 people this afternoon who are going to witness this six-block parade route. We understand that the Hurricanes who are going to be in 35 different convertibles coming on down that parade route, ending with Coach Erickson and his wife on a fire truck. We've got folks all along the parade route. We can take a quick look at where those people are going to be now. Steve Abrams is at the head of the parade route, where everything is just getting underway. Further down in the middle is going to be John Holden, our roving reporter, who's going to be talking to some of the unusual characters who have come out to witness the parade's victory parade today. And it's all going to end up at the Dade County Courthouse, where we're going to be official speeches, and the Hurricanes are going to be presented with a Sugar Bowl trophy. And standing on the courthouse steps will be Ned Smith and Pam Salisbury. Pam, you there?
Yes, Susan and Tony, thank you. I'm about a block from where the action is, where this tremendous day of celebration is going to culminate. My colleague Ned Smith is joining the fanatical fans, and I'm going to throw it to him now.
All right, Pam, thanks very much. It is already starting to line up along the parade route. There are fans at all shapes, all sizes. They have come from this small to this tall. And, of course, there's always going to be a chair left for me when I'm all tired and need a little rest after it's all over with. Go down to John Holden and see some of the wacky fans that have joined us on this parade route. John?
That's right. I'm a few blocks up right now. In fact, I can't quite see you. I'm on North Miami in Flagler, but I see the parade starting to head down a few blocks down. I'll be here along the parade route meeting some of the characters that are fans of the Hurricanes. But right now, let's go to Steve Abrams, who's at the starting of the parade, which is going on right now.
Well, good morning, John. You're right. We're at the start of the parade here at the bottom of Flagler. The cheerleaders, the U of M cheerleaders, have gone by, and the marching band is on its way up to where you're situated. And coming by now, the University of Miami players. These cars you're looking at are the Hurricane coaches.
Defensive coordinator Bob Carmelowitz, along with Tommy Tuberville, just passing Steve Abrams. And there we see Greg Mark, Tiger Clark, and, of course, the man in the middle, the Tez.
That's right.
He's going to be a #1 draft pick, certainly, in the upcoming draft. A funny story, he's from Wilson, Arkansas, and someone asked him at the Sugar Bowl how many people live in Wilson. He said 17,000. They asked him how he knew. He said, that's what the sign says if you work in the city.
I'll tell you, Tony, you know, this team really has been a breeding ground for the pros. You take a look at the people who have gone on to big things. Testaverde, Jim Kelly, Highsmith, Jerome Brown, Melvin Bratton, Steve Walsh, Brian Blades, and boy, you look at this team today and you know that they have great things ahead of them.
There's Bobby Garcia from Cooper City and Louis Cristobal along with Darren Handy. All three are offensive linemen from Miami. Garcia, of course, just coming back from the Senior Bowl. Don Shula told me very impressed with the way he handled himself at the Senior Bowl. And, you know, I got to tell you what, if you would have told me, Susan, in the 70s, that Miami would have 3 national championships as we look at the ticker tape coming down from on top of the building.
No one would have believed it.
Well, not only would they have believed it, there was a chance that Miami wouldn't even have a football team because there was tremendous sentiment by the Board of Trustees to end the football program, but it wasn't for John Green and Lou Saban, who came along and built the foundation. Howard Snellenberger taking it over from there, and then it just continued the domino effect continued. And I think the amazing thing about these national championships is that the 3 national championships have had 3 different head coaches: Howard Snellenberger,
That's
Jimmy
right.
Johnson, and now Dennis Erickson.
I'll tell you, though, Coach Erickson really he probably has the most pressure on him than anybody else. I mean, when the program started and back in the 70s, hey, they were just happy if the Hurricanes could win a game. Now this city expects nothing less than a national championship, and that's incredible pressure to put on a coach, particularly who has only been here for 1 year.
He's the second coach in NCAA history to ever win a national championship. His first year at the university. Okay, let's go to Steve Abrams at the head of the parade. Steve?
Hey, Tony and Susan. We're still here. The team is still filing by. How you doing?
All right.
Have a good parade.
Oh, yeah, I'll try.
Had a great year.
Thanks a lot. It's been a good one. Number one once again.
All right. How about next year?
Next year, we'll have another one.
Okay, good stuff.
Steve?
Wow, what a day. Lots of people down here, as you can see, Tony and Susan. Very enthusiastic, very loud crowd. If you can look behind me, I don't know, can we turn around here? Look at the ticker tape coming down off the buildings. It's amazing.
Steve, you were just talking with Russell Maryland, and, you know, you see him as a big defensive lineman. Not many people realize this. He made the dean's list. He's a psychology major on time and is expecting to go into his final year and then go to get his master's his final year of school at the University of Miami.
And that has certainly been one of the goals of this team, not only to have the physical excellence, but also to have the academic excellence, and they have really pushed hard. And the standards are incredibly high for this team, not only on the field, but off the field as well. You've watched this team, Tony. This team has matured over the past decade.
Absolutely, and I think it really matured this year because it had to withstand a coaching change, and it's like replacing, you know, it's tantamount to your parents, because what happens is you have this relationship with your head coach. He's basically your father, and Jimmy Johnson had an absolutely great effect on this football team. I mean, he made them one. This team, in the last 7 years, went to January 1 bowls, and in 6 of those games, they had an opportunity to win a national championship. I mean, we could have been here 3 other times if Miami hadn't stubbed its toe.
But you look back, too, at the team over the past decade, and certainly as they came onto the scene, they had the reputation a couple of years ago of being very brash, being the bad games. You think back to the Fiesta Bowl and the fatigues. This time, when they went to the Sugar Bowl, all of the team members were dressed in suits, and it was a much more mature, a much more stately, let's get the job done. This is business, and this is serious business.
Steve Abrams, this is your first parade. What's your impression so far?
This is my first parade, Tony. If this is any indication of what's to come, this is fantastic. You know, it's just amazing to see the city come out and support a team like this.
I tell you what, the Hurricanes, as if they needed more good news today with this parade, they just got verbal commitment from C.J. Richardson, a safety from Dallas, Texas, who many consider one of the finest safeties in the country. Let's go to John Holt. John, I'm sure you've got somebody there that we can hear and talk with.
I'm with some of the fans you're finding along the streets right now as the convertibles go by. In fact, here's the most super fanatic you could possibly find, Richard Molinari. Your team here, well, I guess, what makes you such a super fan?
Well, I'm a Miami man, born and raised here. I support the team. They're doing good for the community. It's good community spirit. Let's get out there and support those Hurricanes.
You have a special cheer here, right? Let's hear a special cheer.
A
special cheer.
It's called the Hurricane Slam. Right here.
That was quite a slam. Aren't these a heck of a Hurricane fan? Back to you, Tony, Susan.
I have to tell you something. The official cheer changes every 5 minutes.
Yes, it does. But I'll tell you, these fans are incredible. They have supported this team. Do you remember when that Orange Bowl rocked the game between
Miami and Florida State a year ago? And then certainly, I have never heard
the Notre
Dame
Dame
as
game.
loud as the Miami Notre Dame game. We did especially for the Florida State game, the Miami Notre Dame game.
I was in New York and I could hear that stadium rocking.
This team has really not only won the national championships, but they've become involved with the community, and I think that's so vitally important. And as you stressed before, Sam Jankovich and now Dennis Erickson not only stress the athleticism on the field, but they also stress the academics in the classroom, and I think that's so vitally important. Mike Sullivan, for instance, who is an offensive tackle and one of the spokesmen of this team, is a fifth-year senior going for his master's degree from Chicago, and his goal is to become a state senator.
Wow.
All right, Steve Abrams?
Impressive?
Yeah.
How's it going there at the head of the parade route?
Well, it's just wrapping up. You can see that the players have just now finished filing by. Dennis Erickson, here he is.
Oh, let's take a look at Coach Erickson.
We should point out to you that there was an interesting thing that happened a couple of days ago. Dennis Erickson's wife, Marilyn, was in a car accident. She was wearing her seatbelt. She is a very strong advocate of seatbelts, and she walked away from what could have been a very serious situation, and she is here today with her husband, obviously. Very proud of him, very proud to be in Miami. Ned Smith, what's going on with you?
All right, I tell you what, the crowd has already started to form. They're starting to jam the streets because already the coaches have just come by our position, which is just a little bit east of the courthouse. So most of the coaches have already gone by, except for, of course, the head coach, Dennis Erickson. We are awaiting a first glimpse of some of the players to come by this close. And, of course, along with us are many of the fans that are hoping to get up close and to perhaps congratulate their players that have won them the third national championship in this decade. So, Tony and Susan, it is a big welcoming that they already see. You can see we already have perhaps the first canine fan of the year, the first canine championship fan for the almost took my hand off. These are tough fans here. Susan, Tony.
Thanks, Ned.
That'll teach him.
Yeah, it certainly will. We will be back with more parade coverage in just a minute. Stay with us.
Hail to the Hurricanes is sponsored in part by your local Dunkin' Donut shops, where donuts are made fresh day and night, up to 52 varieties. Gulfstream, Florida's super track. The landmark, unparalleled apartment residences in Aventura. Metropolitan Mortgage, for over 40 years serving South Florida with first and second mortgages.
Well, my congratulations to Dennis Erickson and the rest of the Hurricanes on winning the national championship.
Congratulations, Miami Hurricanes, on being #1 in the country.
And certainly Dan Marino would have loved to have in his senior year when he went to the Sugar Bowl. But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Well, he got some Super Bowls, you know.
Right. I'm Tony Segreto, along with Susan Lichtman. Welcome to Championship Tuesday as the city of Miami honors the national championship. University of Miami Hurricanes. Jim Flower and Charlie Gluck of the Sugar Bowl committee will be presenting head coach Dennis Erickson and team captains with the Sugar Bowl trophy. Let's go to Pam Salisbury on the courthouse steps. Pammy?
Thank you, Tony. The fanatical fans are loving every single minute of this. We've got some of them here with us now. What's the message with this hair?
The message, I'm a great fan, and we're #1 of the decade. We're going to prove it in the 90s. Yeah! Woo!
Serious rowdiness going on here.
We're going to prove it. We proved it in the 80s. We're going to prove it in the 90s. That we're the team of the decade.
Have you been waiting a long time for this day?
You know it, baby. 80s, here we come, 90s, here we come.
Right. Got to throw it back to you, Tony. Obviously,
on, baby.
They are beside themselves.
I got to tell you what, this has to be killing Pam. You know, she's a Florida Gator.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And Ned.
And Ned, who was a no.
Well, we won't talk about that.
You know, for those of you expecting to see Channel 4 News at noon, you're seeing it. This is our version of it as the city of Miami, and Channel 4 helps to honor the University of Miami Hurricanes. So this has certainly been an incredible year, as we have well documented through the 1989 season. It started with a new look, a lot of new faces, a new head coach, and for a look back at the 1989 season, Ned Smith has the story.
Miami opened the season at Wisconsin with a new coach, a new quarterback, and a new game breaker, Wesley Carroll. He caught 7 passes, 2 for touchdowns, and returned 6 punts for 122 yards. Miami's defense didn't allow a touchdown, as the Erickson era debuted with a 51-3 win. In the home opener before nearly 60,000 fans, Miami crushed California. Again, the defense didn't allow a touchdown. Now ranked second, Miami made its first ever trip to Missouri, intercepting 6 passes. The offense rolled up 526 yards in a 38-7 victory. The toughest test of the young season came at Michigan State. Quarterback Erickson fractured a knuckle and was forced to leave, not to return for 3 weeks. Backup Gino Toretta stepped in and led the Canes to a 26-20 triumph. Game 5, back home against Cincinnati, was a 56-0 romp. Miami exploding for 35 points in the second quarter. Against San Jose State, Toretta threw for a school record 468 yards, and Miami ran its record to 6-0, averaging 43 points a game. After a week off, the Canes traveled to Florida State for a no-holds-barred showdown with the Noles. It was an emotion-packed game. A wild first quarter saw Miami fall behind 14-10. They would not score again and suffer their only loss of the season. But even in defeat, there were positives. Dennis Erickson later called that the turning point of Miami's season. It brought new unity and purpose. A 40-10 spanking of East Carolina followed. Then at Pittsburgh, with his entire family watching from the stands, Craig Erickson led the Canes to a convincing 24-3 win over 14th-ranked Pittsburgh. Miami's top-ranked defense ran its streak to 10 straight quarters without giving up a touchdown in a 42-6 thrashing of San Diego State in Week 10. setting the stage for one of college football's classic matchups. The most despised of all Hurricane rivals, Notre Dame came into the regular season finale undefeated and ranked #1. Before the largest crowd in Orange Bowl history, the Hurricanes got revenge, 27-10, finishing the regular season 10-1, jumping 5 spots in the polls to #2, in position to win it all on New Year's night.
You know, it was interesting after the season ended, Coach Erickson wrote a column in the newspaper, and he said, Hurricane football is not a team, it's not a program, it is a feeling, it is an attitude, it is a state of mind, and it certainly is. And what a wonderful thing for him to come in here on this first year and walk away with this national championship.
And it's become tradition. A quick aside, on Saturday night, Miami's basketball team played Arizona State. Dale Dawkins addressed the crowd as they honored the championship football team at that basketball game. And he said to the fans, thank you for supporting us, but I want you to keep something in mind. We have a lot of recruits here. We want you to make them feel welcome so they can come to Miami and continue this tradition.
He's got quite a tradition he's got to keep uphold. Let's go over to the courthouse steps now, where there are some cheers going on.
Are they going to... All right, I tell you what, we were here with Darren Handy. You know, part of this team was that people stepped in. Gino Toretto, quarterback. Darren Handy, when he had to in the Sugar Bowl, he did quite a job for him.
Thanks. I had to. We felt like it was time to be done. It felt great doing it.
I tell you what, that is the mark of a championship team, when guys can fill in when they need to and when they are called upon.
Right. Everybody here should be starting on another team. When they come to Miami, they're second team, but go somewhere else, they're first team.
Congratulations, another national championship for this team.
We're going to get one more again next year.
All right, Darren Handy, of course, one of the guys that stepped in for this team along the road. Very important for a championship team. Susan, Tony, back to you.
You know, one of the other guys who stepped in and filled a very important role was Gino Toretto, one of the unsung heroes. I mean, he's not a starting quarterback. He doesn't have all week to get prepped for the game. He's got to be ready on a moment's notice. And he came in and he picked up the momentum when Erickson was knocked out with that broken knuckle. And he carried that team for 3 games until Erickson could get back in the game and just keep it right on going. And boy, he is incredible. In fact, he had a record for passing in a single game, was against San Jose State, 468-yard performance, 32 of 49 pass completions, 3 touchdowns. He topped Bernie Kosar's 447-yard record against Doug Flutie and Bush College in 1984. What a guy, what a future for him.
Okay, there's Gino Toretto now, and while we're taking a look at Gino, if we could go back to that last car. We have the 3 running backs in that car, and the man in the middle I'd like to say something about, and that's Stephen McGuire. He wore number 30. Here's a kid who wanted so desperately to come to the University of Miami, begged Jimmy Johnson to come to Miami. He's from Brooklyn, New York. Didn't have the grades. He went to Fort Union Military School in Virginia, which is the same school that Vinny Testaverde went to.
That's right.
His father passed away a year and a half ago, dedicated his season to his father, came here and was an absolute force, and many people think that he could be one of the finest, maybe the finest running back ever to step foot.
I think you take a look at a lot of members of this team, though, and they are multidimensional. They have character, they have charisma, they have the ability to get the job done when it needs to get done, but they're people as well, and they give back to the community as well as giving to the team on the field. And there are cases like that all throughout the team. We're going to go to John Holden right now, who's with some more wacky fans. John.
Yeah, I'm standing right in the middle of the street here. There's confetti everywhere, as you can see. If you just pan down the street, they're throwing more confetti, the football players are, than is being thrown on them. That's because their convertibles are all full right now. In fact, I don't know how much confetti is in your car right now.
Pretty much. Look, you can take a look right here yourself. Even our driver is full of confetti.
Isn't it kind of hard to drive this car when it's filled with confetti?
No, it's not. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Brand new cars filled with confetti, but you know, what the heck. This is a celebration, so let's celebrate. What a mess. Back to you.
We understand John's going to have to clean all this up, too, when it's over.
I wonder what it's like on the courthouse steps. Is it as messy there, Pammy?
Pam, can you hear us on the courthouse? It's awfully loud out here.
It's very hard to because of the fanatical fans, but you know they come in all shapes and sizes. What's that, sir?
Well, we're getting fresh right now in the parade here.
Well, we wanted to talk to some of the little fans out here. Ma'am, I wanted to see this little Hurricane fan we got here. How excited are you?
It's fabulous, terrific, the best. Very excited.
Have any trouble finding this little guy, this outfit?
No, right in the bookstore on campus.
How long have you been a Hurricane fan?
Forever, yes.
And you're making one right now.
That's right.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for talking with us. Back to you guys, Tony, Susan.
I'll tell you what, this is amazing. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. Who would have thought? Dr. Henry King Stanford, the former president of the university, should be here to see this, along with maybe Charlie Tate and Frank Kersey.
You know, Tony, Miami has played in 7 straight New Year's Day bowl games. They went into 6 of those with a chance to win the national title. This year, it was high drama on New Year's Day as the Canes not only had to win, but they needed some help from a rival.
New Year's in New Orleans. The Hurricanes went there to take care of business, and after a week of build-up on the Bayou, they did just that in the Superdome. The Hurricanes' offense played its best game of the season, moving the ball on the ground and in the air. The defense held when it had to. Back in the Orange Bowl, Notre Dame gave Miami the help it needed, knocking off #1 Colorado. When that score was flashed, the Canes knew the national title was theirs for the taking, and they took it. The Hurricanes' joy bubbled over onto Bourbon Street that night. And the next day, after being proclaimed #1 in the polls, they returned home to a hero's welcome.
The UPI's national champion is the University of Miami.
You know, it's interesting looking at Coach Erickson's face there, and when they came back to Miami from New Orleans, he seemed so subdued, and I don't know whether he was just so tired probably from staying up all night, or whether he was really a little bit overwhelmed by all of it. He's a soft-spoken guy. He's kind of unassuming. He's like, hey, I'm just a guy here who's kind of coaching this team. And all of a sudden, this has happened to him.
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think he felt extremely exhausted. I think he felt the anvil was lifted off his back because certainly he came in with the expectation of winning the national championship. One quick thought here. The man who you just saw there presenting the Garrett's UPI National Championship Trophy is Billy Prue, former recruiter for the University of Miami. I want to take you back real quickly to 1979-80. I was in a car with Billy Prue, Ron Frazier, along with Ron Stone, a big University of Miami booster, now on the Board of Trustees. Miami had a good team, but could not get to a bowl game. We sat around, had dinner in Nashville, Tennessee, as God is my witness, and we decided at that moment that Miami would lobby to get a bowl bid. And they finally lobbied hard enough, along with Howard Schnellenberger, Billy Prue, Ron Frazier, to get a bowl bid to the Peach Bowl. On that team, nose tackle Jim Burt, who is now going for a 2nd Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers, play with the New York Giants. Certainly, look at how far this team has come when they had to beg to get into a bowl game, and now bowl games are begging to have them come in there. We'll be back with more National Championship Tuesday here on Channel 4 right after this. Stay with us.
Stay with us.
Congratulations to the national champions, Miami Hurricanes. Love you.
I'm Don Shula. I'd like to congratulate Dennis Erickson and the University of Miami on their national championship.
And welcome back to downtown Miami. You're looking at Flagler Street, where there are approximately 25,000 people who have gathered to celebrate the University of Miami football team National Championship Day, as is going to be proclaimed by both Miami Mayor Xavier Suarez and Metro-Dade Mayor Steve Clark, who are putting on this extravaganza in a joint Metro City of Miami celebration today.
They know how to throw a party, don't they?
Certainly do.
All right, we're going to go back to the courthouse. Pam, I want to warn you about something. Look out for Craig Erickson, the quarterback, because he is the team's practical joker. And he may be doing something this morning that we better look out for. I mean, he's been known to put peanut butter in shoulder pads.
Tony, I'm over here. I'm very close to the courthouse, and I think I've already been the target of some practical jokers. My hair is turned into paper. It's just overloaded with confetti, and I look behind me when they throw it, and they just, there you go. I got it again. Let's get the ball out here. I wish I could get some Florida Gators, though. Help me out.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, Pam. No, not at all. Let's go over to John Holden now, who is along the parade route. He's probably cleaning up the mess that's on the street. John?
That's right. They have a heck of a mess to clean up here. The parade is like half a block down. I mean, just look at this mess they left behind. It's paper and confetti everywhere. A few people are still standing with confetti or helping to clean up. Are you helping to clean up, or were you just throwing?
I was just throwing.
I was just wondering, this is one of the typical fans that were throwing. I mean, this is a postal worker who took time off. I hope this isn't shredded mail.
Lunch just between lunch breaks.
You're just between lunch breaks, but this isn't the mail that you've probably thrown all the mail.
Oh, I would never do that.
You had a particularly good aim, too. Is that from throwing letters?
Yes, of course.
Your name is?
Roxanne Alexander.
Roxanne, a typical fan of the Hurricanes. Back to you.
Thanks, John. Ned is standing by with a very special guest.
Yes.
Number 81, we are on the steps of the courthouse right now, and already the speeches have begun by some of the civic leaders trying to get the cheers up. I'm with Wesley Carroll, the receiver that stepped in this year, came right out of junior college, began this year, had a great beginning. Your thought about the whole year?
Well, it was a big transition. You know, I didn't think I was going to do the things I was capable of doing this year, and I'm very pleased with myself and the way the team performed this year, and I'm just real proud of the whole season.
What was it like coming down the parade route, the ticker tape, the crowds around you?
Well, it was really exciting. You know, I haven't been in nothing like this before. I haven't been a national champion before, so, you know, it's going to take a day or two for it to really set in on it.
What was it like, though, to have this crowd around you? You look behind you, it's just a sea of people.
Well, it's like a big fantasy world. You know, come down, all the confetti come down on you, and all these people out here supporting us through the whole season out here to support us on this parade. You know, it's just a real good feeling.
We just watched some of your catches that you made during the year. What was harder, making some of those catches against those defenses, or perhaps tackling this crowd today?
Well, it's almost even.
All right, Wesley Carroll, one of the fine wide receivers for the Miami Hurricanes.
I'll tell you what, not only, Ned, is he a fine wide receiver, but what a fine, fine gentleman. Here's a young man who not only had to come in here from junior college, but probably had the toughest year of any football player. His mother, a year ago, was murdered in Cleveland, and this young man had to persevere, be by himself with his brother and sister, and came down here and certainly dedicated the season to her, dedicated the season to his religion, and came through it with flying colors. And we certainly admire him for what he stands for and how he helps this community with young people. I think that's so vitally important.
Let's go over to the courthouse steps now, where the afternoon proceedings have begun. There are going to be a bunch of speeches by community leaders. Let's see what's going on over there right now.
Have your attention, please. We would like to begin this afternoon's festivities. Charlie, please. Thank you, a little more, thank you. We'd like to begin this afternoon's festivities with the national anthem as played by the Band of the Hour.
As you heard, the Band of the Hour is here, as well are the cheerleaders, and they've been doing, well, look at all this confetti. My goodness gracious me.
21,000 pounds of confetti, we understand.
Boy.
Paper that was shredded. Hope no documents were shredded.
All right, let's go down to the Band of the Hour for the playing of our national anthem. I feel like we should kick the ball off or something.
That's right. Well, in some way, it is kickoff time. We're going to have an introduction by Mayor Stephen Clark and members of the Board of County Commissioners and County Manager Joaquin Alvignot, the introduction of Mayor Xavier Suarez, and the City Commissioners and City Manager Cesar Odio. Lots of local officials. The Sugar Bowl officials will present the Sugar Bowl trophy to Coach Erickson. And so it is a kickoff of sorts.
You know, we hear so much about the football team on the field, its athleticism, But, you know, the tradition, as you alluded to earlier, is just so unbelievable. In 1983, Howard Schnellenberger felt he needed something to really motivate the team and calm them down at the same time. He brought in Joe Namath to talk with them at pregame and at halftime. The reason Howard did that, Howard recruited Joe out of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, when Howard was an assistant coach under Bear Bryant at Alabama. Then Jimmy Johnson brought back Alonzo Highsmith, Tolbert, Bain, Winston Moss to the 87-88 game when they won the national championship over Oklahoma. And then this past game, Winston Moss took the defense by themselves in a private room at halftime. He plays with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and gave them a real tongue lashing. Said, you're not playing Hurricane football. You have to uphold the tradition that we have established here over the years. And Miami's defense basically went out in the second half and shut Alabama down. You know, we talked about so many things. I mean, as if they were destined to win. We talked about Diego London, a reserve offensive lineman, a freshman from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, whose parents couldn't afford to go to the Sugar Bowl. And on the Sunday before or the Saturday before the Sugar Bowl, they won the Pick 5 in Washington.
In the lottery, that's
and won
right.
$32,000 and could afford a trip to the Sugar Bowl. There you see number 49, Maurice Crum. You talk about a young man with great athleticism. He's now playing for the baseball team. When he was 11 years old, he played in the Little League World Series at Williamsport, Pennsylvania. He was drafted at a high school. By the way, he lost that game 4-3 to Taiwan. He was drafted at a high school to play pro baseball, decided to come to Miami with the understanding that he could play both. Jimmy Johnson, once he got here, said, no, you're not going to play both. You're only going to play football. Dennis Erickson says, now you can play. And he's expected to be a force on the baseball team this year. There's number 34, the Yama Yama man, as better known. He was there when I was in school. You know, he lives in Fort Myers.
And he comes over
and he
for all the
commutes
games.
Back and forth for all the games, and certainly for National Championship
There's dedication
Tuesday.
for you.
That's right.
We are waiting for opening remarks now by Metro Mayor Steve Clark in a packed Flagler Street at the Dade County Courthouse in downtown Miami, where this is the news of the day. National champions. And what a way for Miami to celebrate.
And the National Championship fans are here as well. A record season ticket sale last year. They're expecting even more as the season tickets go on sale. You know, tonight is the awards banquet. A lot of talk as to who will get the most valuable player award. You know, a lot has to be said about Craig Erickson. We talked about him being a practical joker. He really turned out to be a team leader. Here's a young man who not only lost his mentor in Gary Stevens, who left when he didn't get the head job and went to the university, left Miami to go to the Miami Dolphins. He lost his best friend in Steve Walsh, and now he's got a brand new offense, a new head coach, and he suffers a broken knuckle at midseason. He's come around, and there's Dennis Erickson.
There he is.
And his wife, Marilyn. There's Sonny Hirsch, the play-by-play and voice of the Hurricanes, wearing the University of Miami jacket. Officer Daly from the Florida Highway Patrol right there behind him. The Ibis, John Ruth.
Crown King.
Yeah, he is the Crown King. What a great mascot.
Is.
Carlos Huerta, a walk-on from Coral Gables, the kicker, who finally earned himself a scholarship.
You know, Carlos Huerta is one of the unsung heroes of this team. He is in a pressure job. You come down there with the final seconds of the game, and it is all on your shoulders, even though this is a team sport. That is one of the positions which is certainly more singular. An incredible pressure on him, and he certainly comes through.
And look at our shot from up above. As you can see, Flagler Street littered with not only confetti, but littered with Hurricane fans as they continue to honor this national championship team. Let's go down to the podium. Sonny Hirsch is starting the festivities.
I'll tell you something. September the 8th to January 23rd, it sure made it an awful fast year. And it's great to be back here for the third time, particularly this time to answer some of the critics who said, it couldn't be done. The coaches are gone. Some of the players are gone. But they forgot one thing, that this is still University of Miami football.
Well, I think you heard Sonny Hirsch say what we've been saying all day. You talk about tradition. Never before has it been done where a team wins 3 national championships in a decade under 3 different head coaches.
We're sorry you're not here.
You know, Tony, only 4 teams have won 3 titles in a decade. Miami, the team of the 80s. Notre Dame, the team of the 40s. Oklahoma with 3 in the 50s. Alabama with 3 in the 60s. But the Canes certainly have the ability to be the team not only of the 80s, but the 90s as well. And Craig Erickson has the opportunity to be the first quarterback to win back-to-back national champions.
And also, he's already being mentioned as a candidate for the Heisman Trophy.
Yes.
Dennis Erickson said after the Sugar Bowl, Craig played the finest game at quarterback that he has ever been around, especially with this new one-back offense. Threw for over 250 yards, over 400 yards in offense, only threw that one interception, and certainly the turnovers have been the bugaboo early in the year, but at that transition, it takes some time. But as we go into the 90s, you know, as I said, C.J. Richardson from Dallas, Texas committed. He is ranked 3rd among all high school safeties throughout the country, but more importantly, there was a young man from Miami Beach, Lemulski, I think I'll get it right. He's from the Soviet Union. He's 6'9", 275-pound offensive lineman who's committed. And they're also hoping to get Johnny Herbin, a defensive back, running back from Texas, who is considered to be the finest athlete in the country. Sonny Hurst has just introduced Stephen Clark, a big Yankee fan and a big Hurricane fan. Let's hear what he has to say.
Let's hear Metro-Dade Mayor Steve Clark.
A very short presentation. We're not going to read it all. Coach, if you'd come up here, please. There's only one stipulation with this proclamation, Coach, that you guarantee in 1991 you'll be right back here in the same place. Guaranteed? Guaranteed. Congratulations, Coach. On behalf of the 2 million people of the county, we show you great concern today. You've done a fantastic job. Keep up your work. Godspeed. Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Coach Dennis Erickson being presented with the proclamation that this is the University of Miami Hurricanes
Those are the only ones I have marked yet.
Football National Championship Day in Miami and Dade County.
Wow.
And once again, very serious looking.
Dennis?
Yes, very serious looking. I really think he's overwhelmed by all of this. He just, maybe it doesn't seem real to him yet. Maybe it hasn't sunk in.
Well, I also think that we've seen 3 distinct coaches here in Howard, Jimmy, and Dennis. Howard was very flamboyant, very into image. He always smoked that pipe, a tremendous recruiter, a tremendous strategist. Was in the Super Bowl with Don Shula, was with the Rams, was with Paul Bear Bryant, certainly had a tremendous background.
We'll be back here next year.
There's Commissioner J.L. Plummer.
And then you had Jimmy Johnson, who was an all-business type guy. It's us against them. That's why Miami did so well on the road. Very low-key. When asked about heroes, he said, I don't want my players to be heroes. I want them to be people. I want them to go to class. I want them to understand that they are athletes as well as students, as well as people. They must be important. Now you have Dennis Erickson coming in here, who has a completely different philosophy. He still is into academics and still is into the discipline that both Howard and Jimmy were, but he comes in with a different attitude, and I think that what we see here is someone who is a bit overwhelmed. I mean, let's face it, he was in Washington State a year ago.
Represent the citizens of Coral Gables, and as you know, that's where the University of Miami is located. We're very proud of that team. They've done a great job. We congratulate Coach Dennis Erickson, and today all throughout Coral Gables we'll be celebrating Coach Dennis Erickson Day in Coral Gables, and we're very proud of the University of Miami and the job that he's done. Congratulations.
I got to tell you, talk about tradition. You know, we saw Bobby Garcia, and we're going to see him accept the Sugar Bowl trophy along with Dale Dawkins and Cortez Kennedy. When Bobby Garcia was recruited 5 years ago out of Cooper City High School, he called the radio station, WIOD, where Jimmy Johnson was doing his talk show, and said, Coach, I'm Bobby Garcia. I'm your new recruit.
I'm here.
I just signed
ready.
a letter of intent. I'm looking forward to playing with you. That's just an indication of the tradition here. Let's go to Ned Smith. Ned?
All right, I'm with Craig Erickson, the quarterback of the national champion Miami Hurricanes. How does that sound?
Well, it's why we come here. It's why we work so hard in 2 days of spring practice, and it's well-deserved, and these guys and these seniors deserve it.
You become the 3rd quarterback that started your first year to win a national championship with the Hurricanes. What's the key for the first year?
Have great players around you. I don't think there's anyone, previous quarterbacks or any previous player that could say they could do it by themselves, and I'm no exception. There's 10 other guys on offense that have done an outstanding job, and our defense, they allow us to do things on our side of the field that you normally can't do with our defenses.
Your mentor, Gary Stevens, leaves. You have to pick up a new offense. How tough was it? And people were doubting in the beginning of the year, this offense.
Well, I think one of the bases for my success this year was Coach Stevens. 2 years under Steve Walsh and him grinding in those film rooms, was basically key to my success this year. I learned coverages and things that I wouldn't have learned in other coaches. And just put it all together in a new offense. It didn't take much time. It was a group thing, and when it came together, we were tough to beat.
All right, the final question is, which was tougher, coming down this parade route or facing some of the defenses you faced?
This is more fun, but it's all right. It's no problem. This is great. All fans support. You know, we got a tough home schedule next year. Play Syracuse, Pitt, all those big guys at home, and we need 80,000 every game.
All right, Craig Erickson, the quarterback of the national champion Miami Hurricanes. Tony, Susan?
I understand that Mr. Erickson owes you something, Tony.
He owes me hey, Ned, tell Craig he owes me the lobsters he went diving for. He loves to dive, loves to go deep sea fishing, loves the South Florida area, loves to go on the water from Palm Beach. Let's go to the podium.
Let's go back to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Miami Beach Mayor
in the Olympics, the highest award you can get is a gold medal. It signifies excellence. It signifies #1. It signifies the world's best. I have the gold medal, the city of Miami Beach, to the greatest coach in the world, Coach Dennis Erickson. Stanley, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call up the Vice Mayor of the city of Miami Beach. He's on the Board of Trustees, the University of Miami. He raised $5 million for the University of Miami last year. And this year he said he's going to raise $10 million for the football team. Let's give him a round of applause.
Dennis, I was with you on Friday evening at the Omni Hotel, and I think the greatest honor anybody can get is for the President of the United States to honor our coach. And he did just that, and to Sam Jankovich. And I think it was absolutely wonderful. As a trustee, as a member of the commission where the new University of Miami campus is, we love you. We think you are the greatest.
Thank you very much.
It's the way it's been with Coach Erickson. He gets the gifts and leaves me the package.
I think Coach Erickson is going to have more medals, plaques, trophies, and he's going to
have to build an extension on his house just for a wall space.
So. We're going to be back with more of today's parade coverage in just a minute. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Flagler Street, National Championship Tuesday, as the city of Miami and South Florida, along with Channel 4, honors the University of Miami National Championship team.
And let's go back to the podium now, where more of the festivities are underway.
And we're glad that we were the gateway to the National Championship, and we hope you'll come back and see it.
You're looking there at Jim Flower, the executive director of the Sugar Bowl Committee. Spent some time with him at the University of Pittsburgh when he was just about made up his mind that they would invite Miami. And there he is congratulating head coach Dennis Erickson. The man with the hat is Charlie Gluck, team selection chairman committee. And they both flew in here from New Orleans. It's going to be tough for them to get back to New Orleans.
Yes, it's going to be tough for them to get off of Flagler Street.
You know, we have heard about Miami being the team of the decade, and why not? They've gone to 7 straight New Year's Day Bowls, and as we said earlier, they could have won 6 national championships. But let's listen to Sonny Hirsch for a minute.
Try and improve this program to make it even bigger and better. Hurricanes Athletic Director, Sam Jankovich.
Thank you very much, Sonny. Now, residents of South Florida and Miami, don't you think this is where it's all at?
Pretty soon we're going to hear Sam do a cheer. Why?
Different times the last 7 years, and if you ever want to put an event together, this is the community to put it together, because the support is just tremendous, and I can't tell you how much it means to all of us that you are out here today, but most important of all, that you have supported this community, the University of Miami and its athletic department for so many years. Is that, you know, to the people who put this together today, we thank them ever so much. To Mayor Clark and to everybody associated with the county, thank you. To all of the people with the other municipalities, we thank you ever so much. And to J.L. Plummer, who's representing the mayor, to our very, very dear friend Cesar Audio, who goes the extra mile all of the time
in making certain that Orange Bowl does nothing but get better. But also, if you have the #1 football team in the country, we should have the #1 stadium in the country, and those Orange Bowl improvements have to take place, okay?
Sam Jankovich, forever the politician.
And what we all have you do is to encourage all of those commissioners to get that contract signed in the very near future so we can start the renovation of the Orange Bowl.
I didn't know this was a stadium campaign speech day.
Well, you know, leave it to Sam. Whenever he finds his moments, he slips them in, you know?
He certainly does.
I'm fortunate to be here for 7 years. You know, it does take everybody to be #1, and it takes people to support you like all of you have. And I just was thinking a little while ago, if all of you were season ticket holders and all the people in line were season ticket holders, we could have a 100,000-seat Orange Bowl and all of our lives would be better. So all of you who aren't season ticket holders will be, right? To the cheerleaders, to the band, to our good friend here, we also thank you. To all of those people who work within our program, 105, who work so tirelessly, those are really the unsung heroes, and I want to thank them as well. Is that what we have witnessed in a very short period of time is a tremendous growth in this community where it is a family, where people are working together. The University of Miami, under the able leadership of Tad Foote, that has grown, and President Foote feels very badly he cannot be here, and also to the athletic department itself. To the football players, you're loved by so many, and you're appreciated by so many. To those seniors who we say goodbye to after 5 years, you've competed for the national championship all 5 years. You've been a part of it, and no one has laid a more solid foundation than you. To the entire coaching staff, we thank you because you surely have given an awful lot. And to Carmel Lynette and everybody associated with the Port Authority, we thank you for the luncheon that you're going to be providing to everybody who's involved. So now, it is with a great deal of pleasure that I introduce to you the head football coach of the University of Miami.
He's going to do a cheer first.
But also his staff, and he are truly the coach of the year, right? Now what we're going to do, now you have to get into it, right? Now we're going to have a great cheer for all the K's. Give me a C!
Told you.
Hell, that's horrible! Give me a C! Give me that! Give me that! Give me these! Give me that! Now make it loud! What do you have? What do you have? Reach down deep! What do you have? Thank you. Coach Erickson.
Jankovich ought to try out for the head cheerleading post, Tony?
Well, whenever Sam gets an opportunity to address either the student body or fans, he has to break into a cheer. He has to go through the rendition, taking off the coat with the suspenders, mic in hand, and then with like a bolo punch with the other hand, give those cheers as vociferously as he possibly can. You should have seen him at the Sugar Bowl. All right, let's go back
to the podium, right.
First thing I would like to do is introduce the coaching staff. If you could hold your applause to the end, because they are the key to the success that we've had. I've got the greatest coaching staff in the country, and they proved it this year by finishing #1. And when we get done, give them a big applause because they deserve it a hell of a lot more than I do. First of all, our defensive line coach, Bob Carmelowitz. He'll pay attention like the players do. Next to him, our tight end coach and special teams coach, Dave Arnold. Next to him is the offensive line coach, ex-player here, Art Kehoe.
Art Kehoe is the only member of this staff who's been part of all 3 national championships. He was also a player on the 1980 Peach Bowl team.
There's something to be said for continuity.
Next to him is the defensive line coach, Ed Ogeron. Next to him, the linebacker coach, Tommy Tuberville.
Tommy Tuberville, a holdover from Jimmy Johnson's staff.
The offensive line coach, Greg Smith. Next to him, the offensive coordinator, the one that calls all the bad plays, because I call the good ones, Bob Bratkowski.
And if that name sounds familiar, his father, Zeke, was a backup quarterback for the Green Bay Packers behind Bart Starr.
Now give him a big hand. That's the coaching staff. The next thing I'd like to do is thank the city of Miami, the county of Dade, South Florida, and you fans, because I'm going to tell you something. You're the greatest fans in the world. You helped us win that national championship. Give yourself a hand. I tell you, when we went into that Orange Bowl on November 25th against Notre Dame, that was the most electric place I've ever seen in my life. And when our football team came out to play, there was no way in the world, because of the fans and the atmosphere of that Orange Bowl, that we were ever going to lose. So you guys had a great deal to do with that. It was a great win for us on November 21st. And then again in the Orange Bowl, you were kind enough to help Notre Dame beat Colorado. Thank you very much for that. And then the 12 or 13,000 that were in New Orleans, we were outnumbered as far as the number was concerned, but I'll tell you what, you made as much noise as they did, and I'm happy and proud of you. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Sam Jankovich for hiring me. It's a great opportunity for me. I couldn't be happier. I want to thank all the people that works with Sam, the athletic directors, all the people in the ticket office, all the people there. They've made it such an easy transition for us, and it's just been great. But right now, I would like to bring up the leadership of our football team, a group that's been here for 4 and 5 years, the team that has won a group that's won 2 national championships, and the group that had a great deal to do with winning this national championship, our seniors. Bring all the seniors up here, please. Give them a hand. Let's go. All the seniors. Go.
And it was interesting, Coach Erickson referred to thanking the fans so much for helping Notre Dame beat Colorado in the Orange Bowl. I can remember flipping back and forth between both games, the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl, which were going on really at the same time. And something happened when Notre Dame finally beat Colorado, and the word spread throughout the Sugar Bowl to the team players. They became electric, and something just kicked in because they now knew that it was within grasp, it was within reach, and it was like one more, it was like Warp Speed 5, you know, had taken hold of the team, and they just barreled on through at that point.
Absolutely. There you see the senior class. Kenny Berry, number 6. There's Bobby Harden, number 11. Dale Dawkins holding up the national championship banner, and well, they should. There's Dennis Kelleher to the left of your screen, number 88, whose father also a former NFL official. There's Dawkins, number 11. And they're urging him on. Dale Dawkins, who came in here, he was hoping to get another year of eligibility. He was a Proposition 48 student out of Vero Beach. Didn't get that NCAA ruling. He has not been invited, surprisingly, to any of the NFL Combine tryouts, which has been a major, major surprise, including a surprise to Tom Heckert, the new personnel director for the Miami Dolphins. They're trying to get him to the Blesto Combine in Indianapolis. Very similar, not probably as fast as Andre Brown, but certainly we saw what Andre Brown did to help the Miami Dolphins this past season. And there you see
the trophy
for the Sugar Bowl.
surprise, I'd like to have our defensive end, consensus All-American, been here for 5 years. Greg Mark, say a few words. Greg.
Greg Mark, number 94 from New Jersey. Great, great athlete.
What a powerhouse he is.
I feel I speak on behalf of the whole team here, and just how wonderful you all are. It's been a great 5 years. This year, a lot of people doubted us. Coach Erickson, a new coach. A lot of players left last year. And it was just a big surprise for all of us. And we're just happy to be here in the greatest city in the world. This right here is a tribute to the University of Miami, a tribute to the city of Miami, a tribute to all you fans, and just an honor for us players to be here. Thank you all very much.
Next senior, I'd like to get up and say something. Senior wide receiver, Dale Dawkins. Dale. Keep it under 5 minutes.
Yeah, they over-under Dale Dawkins when he speaks.
They know I talk too much, but I just want to say, unfortunately, I can't come back next year. I want you guys to root for me and push me that I go on and do better. But I would like to say, I appreciate all the things that you've done for me and our team. We ask that you guys continue to push us because we love you, and we will be national champs again next year and the years coming.
Thank you.
A quick word about Greg Mark. You know, one of the reasons Jimmy Johnson recruited him, he was rather small in high school, but he jumped center for the basketball team, and he was the smallest guy on the team. He just had great athletic ability. There you see the young man in the back with the orange jersey. That's Brian Forte. That's going to be the next quarterback succeeding Craig Erickson, the highest recruited quarterback out of New Jersey. Expected to be a redshirt this year, did play a little bit. Many people think he'll be redshirted next year to get that extra year of eligibility.
Hey, listen, it's quarterback you know that.
They're the #1 team in the country. I'll turn this back to Sonny Hurd. Sonny.
Coach Dennis Erickson and the Hurricanes. Before you go, before we break it up, we want to clear the stage for a second. We're going to have a special farewell little treat for you. Before we do that, may we ask just how about a big hand for the gentleman who guided you through this whole program, Ron Adler, right over here. And I can't read what I got. Oh, okay. Get out of here,
and his new confetti hairdo.
Yeah, well, I think Sonny would like it if he looked at it in the mirror.
It must be Mark or somebody. No, it's Dawkins.
Yeah, they're already starting to play practical jokes on the stage.
From the Tiger, Bernard Clark. He, Maurice Crum, and Kenny Berry would like to do one more dance.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
You know, you see Bernard, you know, he's a fifth-year senior. He will be drafted. Look at, here we go.
Look at this.
Kenny, Maurice, and Tiger Clark.
Tiger has his degree in
thank
accounting.
you for taking the time to join us. How about we do one thing before we leave? Let's set a date for January 23rd, 1991. Let's do it again. Thank you.
And so the legacy lives on. Looking forward to next year to yet another national championship. It almost sounds like it's accepted.
There's no rest for the weary either. The coaches have been out on the road recruiting. It's expected that Miami will have another banner year recruiting. Certainly it helps when you win the national championship. They're looking again for more quarterbacks. They're looking for offensive linemen, running backs, as well as certainly on the defensive side of the ball, they're losing some people. Let's go to Pam Salisbury. Pam?
Thank you, Tony. I'm standing by with one of the men of the hour tonight. Today, a big celebration for the Canes. How does it feel to be a winner?
It feels really great. It feels nice to be spoiled out here by all the fans. It's really nice, you know, the celebration and the parade and everything.
What do you think about these fans?
The fans are great. We didn't think there'd be a big turnout because everyone had to work today, but everyone came out, and it's real nice to see them.
All right, you're entering 1990, running back. What do you hope for the future?
Success. That's all.
Another national championship.
Yeah, very much so.
Shannon Crowell, thank you very much. Tony, Susan, back to you.
Okay,
Thanks, Pam.
Should we check with Ned?
Yes, Ned's got somebody there waiting for us. Ned?
Oh, Ned.
Yeah, we're standing right now with the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes.
Dennis, it has been a long year for you. A lot of doubters at the beginning, but you pulled it through.
Well, we really did. This football team did a great job and came together, and we won the national championship. What can you say? It's a credit to the coaches and to the players and to the fans and to the city of Miami, because it's a national championship for everybody involved.
A lot of people now know you got to go it again. You've got to have the recruiting trail behind you. How's the recruiting going?
It's going real well. It's winning this didn't hurt us any, so it's been going really well, and we got a month left in recruiting, and hopefully we can get some good players like we have now. We think that it's going very positive for us.
What is the reception to most of the players about this?
Well, the University of Miami is very well thought of all over the country, and when you go into a school, you want to talk to an athlete, they'll all talk to you, so the reception's unbelievable.
What has this been like? You placed a lot of teams this year, a lot of tough opponents, but this must have been the culmination of a long year for you.
Well, it makes everything worthwhile. Travel all the way across the United States. I can think back to March 6th when I took the job, and the change, and coaches coming, the families not being here, trying to win our players over, and the players playing hard, and it's just been a long year, but it was done, and it's all worth it, and I'm just happy to be at the University of Miami and plan on being here for a long time.
All right, Dennis Erickson, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it. Dennis Erickson, the head coach of the national champion Miami Hurricanes. Tony, Susan, back to you.
Okay, Ned, you know, a lot of people were asking Dennis Erickson during Sugar Bowl week about pressure. You know, pressure, you know, if you win this game, you got a chance of winning the national championship. He said, that's not pressure. He said, what do you mean it's not pressure? He says, I'll tell you what's pressure. When I was in high school, he said, I was the quarterback, and I had to play against my father for the state championship.
Oh, no.
That's pressure.
That's pressure.
Because Mom was trying to figure out who to root for, and then she'd always kind of lean towards the son side.
Well, you look at the pressure, you also look at the consistency. I mean, we have the team now, the team of the decade of dominance. That was the 80s. We are now into the 90s, and we are beginning a new team and a new decade and some new dominance. And we have a date for January 23rd, 1991, and let's hope that we're here, and let's hope that the team has the consistency and the fortitude and the inspiration. You know what happens when you become national championships? Sometimes they say that the edge is taken off because you're there, you're not hungry, you're not still working for something that you haven't got. This team has proven that they can still maintain that excellence, still maintain that consistency, and they have a wonderful opportunity to do that in the upcoming year. You know, I always think of the Nike ad, just do it. I think of the Miami Hurricanes. Nike should hire the Miami Hurricanes. Just do it. They are the official They are doing it. They continue to do it.
Yeah, they are the official shoe.
They are.
Nike.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, look at this.
Just
This is
learn
amazing.
something new every day.
You know what else, though? And before we leave, we want to tell you one thing. We talk about what the national championship has done, what the University of Miami program. Certainly, they gain a lot of money from the Sugar Bowl, $4 million that goes back into academics. There's the team chaplain down there, Father Leo, who's taking a picture of us, who certainly is a major, major force. He's the glue that holds this team together. But, you know, I think what it is more importantly, it bonds this community. Yes. This community so often is fragmented for whatever reason. But, you know, when we got off the plane from New Orleans, we saw people at the airport cheering, saying, we're number one, not you're number one, or the Hurricanes are number one, we're number one. It's a pride. It's something that you can stick your chest out for. Jimmy Johnson told me after he won his national championship that a number of people from very different walks of life had come up to him and said, you know, your focus, your perseverance, your drive for that national championship has bled over into our everyday lives, and it makes us want to be better. It makes us want to be champions, and I think that's what happens when this happens to a community like this.
I think it was very interesting, too. Jimmy Johnson had an opportunity to go to the Sugar Bowl, and he declined. He said, this is Dennis Erickson's time now, in effect passing the legacy on to him and saying he now deserves the spotlight and he deserves the chance to shine, and he certainly has done so in the first year that he's been here, and the team certainly has shined underneath him, and let's hope that they continue to do that.
I think Dennis handled the transition extremely well. You know, when Jimmy was here, it was a real tough transition for him. He bristled a little bit when you mentioned Howard Schnellenberger's name. I remember us doing a piece comparing the two teams and two coaches, and even though it was a positive piece, Jimmy still was a little uncomfortable. Dennis, on the other hand, was extremely comfortable in crediting and speaking very openly about Jimmy Johnson and what he inherited. And Dennis was so candid when he got here. He said, you know, I'm in a no-win position. I'm expected to win. If I win the national championship, people will say, you were supposed to. If I don't win it, they'll say, hey, I screwed it up.
Why didn't you? But I think that it certainly is a credit to Coach Erickson that he feels comfortable enough with it himself, that he has the confidence in his ability, that he can come into a situation. Certainly Jimmy Johnson was an overpowering figure here at the University of Miami, and certainly a hard act to follow. But I don't think he compared himself. He is enough of his own man to say, look, you hired me because I'm me. You hired me to do the job that I know I can do. I'm going to do it. He did it. He went out. And I don't think comparisons need to be made now. We are in a new period, a new team, a new decade, and we start from here and go forward.
And let us not forget, another national championship program gets underway in 2 weeks. The baseball team, Ron Frazier says he's thin.
Is it baseball already?
Yeah, he says he's thin, but I have a feeling we'll be in Omaha come June. We'd like to thank you all for joining us here on National Championship Tuesday. It's been a great pleasure, as always, working with you, Susan. We'd like to thank Steve Abrams, John Holden, Ned Smith, Pam Salisbury, all the people, Bruce Perlmutter, Sharon Scott, Nancy Valenta, all the people behind the scenes who have helped make this possible. It's been a special day for us as well.
And the celebration continues here on Flagler Street. For those of you who maybe haven't taken your lunch break yet and want to come down, we will be back with a wrap-up of the day's events on Channel 4 News starting at 5. We will see you then.
Bye-bye.
To the Hurricanes has been sponsored in part by Metropolitan Mortgage. For over 40 years serving South Florida with first and second mortgages. This has been a Channel 4 News special. Hail to the Hurricanes. We now return to regularly scheduled programming already in progress.